everyone, welcome back to my studying, and today I wanted to talk about a new Stephen King book. Now, every constant reader, and those of you who know what I'm talking about, knows that opening a new King book, no matter what it is akin to wrapping yourself in a warm, familiar blanket, right? Even if it's usually full of murder and dread and monsters more often than not. Here, in Later, which is a hard case crime imprint that publishes contemporary hard-boiled paperbacks, King revisits his pulpier side. It's a side he hasn't shown since Joyland, Colorado Kid, but probably my favorite of his pulpier works is the novel Blaze, which I hope to review soon because I reread it recently and it's a doozy. It's fantastic. The story here follows a boy, James Conklin. He lives with his mother and, not like in that movie with Bruce Willis in it, as he says in first person, he can see ghosts. Or rather, dead people. Difference here being that people, well, some of them believe him. His mother believes him, but he chooses not to, or rather to ignore it as much as she can. Her girlfriend starts believing him and drags him into terrible situations out of desperation. Or even his dear friend, an elderly professor emeritus who helps him just come to terms with it all. I don't want to spoil anything in the book because it just came out, but I do want to mention one plot point as sort of an invitation to read it and see if you like it. So, despite its flashy cover, this isn't really a crime story. As I mentioned, Jamie lives with his single mother, and she's a literary agent because King can't help himself and make at least one of his characters related to writing in some way. So she's a literary agent and a good one. However, her world starts to quickly crumble and threatens to collapse completely when her golden goose, quote-unquote, author dies while writing the last sequel in this planetarily popular historical fiction series. And with Jamie being who he is and what he can do, you can imagine what happens next and how the story within a story gets finished. But that's not the point of the novel. Early King would have probably focused full in on that supernatural aspect of it. But I think here he does a smart thing. Not that old King isn't some of my favorite writing ever, it's just, even though the tropes are familiar, and they truly are, the horror does not come from the dead. It comes from the threat of the mother and child, mother and son bond that's being established. And the threat comes from it being potentially severed, put at risk. And that's the heart of the story. Because the relationship with Jamie and his mom is a sweet one. It's not sugar-coated, but the way it's delivered, because it's delivered through first person by Jamie, it is brisk, it's on point, and it's a huge page-turner. And King does this clever little trick to convey the pulpier storytelling, where he uses short, dynamic sentences to display that. And that's Later. It's a hell of a story. Is it his best? No, it's not. Is it a good one? Yes, it is. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. And that would be it. I'll be returning with more reviews soon, and thank you for watching, and see you next time. And as always, thank you for my Patreon supporters, or rather to my Patreon supporters. I'm very grateful. Bye-bye.